Let me ask you something real. If I told you that a Fortune 500 company has a chief operating officer, someone whose entire job is to make sure the business runs efficiently, that decisions get made, that nothing falls through the cracks, that the CEO can actually focus on growth, would you say that sounds nice, but that's not for businesses like mine? Because here's the truth. Most small business owners are functioning as the COO of their own company, whether they know it or not. They're managing operations, making every call, handling every fire, and wondering why they're exhausted. And for years, the gap between them and a business that actually runs clean was this one thing. They couldn't afford a COO. That gap just closed, not because hiring got cheaper, because AI just made it possible to build one. And today, I'm going to show you exactly how. Before we get into it, if you're a business owner trying to stop being the bottleneck in your own company, this show was built for you. This isn't about motivation. It isn't about hustle. It's operator thinking. The systems, the frameworks, the decisions that make businesses actually work. Hit subscribe. Let's get into it. Welcome to Notebook of a COO. I want to be direct about what this episode is and what it is not. This is not a use ChatGPT for your business episode. I'm not going to tell you to ask AI to write your emails or generate social media captions. That's fine. That's surface level. That's a parlor trick compared to what we're talking about today. What I want to talk about is how to systematize AI into the actual operating layer of your business, so it functions less like a tool you open when you're stuck and more like an operator that's always on, always processing, always moving things forward. There is a version of your business where leads are followed up on automatically, where your SOPs get drafted without you sitting in a room for 3 hours, where your onboarding runs without you, where your team has answers before they even ask you the question. That's not the future. That's right now. For operators who know how to build it. Let's build it. Here's where most business owners are right now. They've heard about AI. They've maybe played with it. They typed some questions into ChatGPT, got a decent answer, and then went right back to running their business the exact same way they were before. And the reason that happens isn't laziness. It's because nobody told them how AI actually fits into operations. All the content out there is either 10 prompts to try or AI is going to replace your job. Neither of those helps you run a business better. So the operators who are winning right now with AI, they're not smarter. They're not more technical. They're just thinking about it differently. They're not asking, what can AI do? They're asking, what does my business do repeatedly? And how do I get AI into that loop? That shift in the question changes everything. Drop a comment right now if you've been dabbling with AI, but haven't actually connected it to anything that runs in your business day to day. I want to know how many of you are in that exact spot, because what I'm about to give you is the framework to change that this quarter. Let's talk about the 5 operational zones where AI becomes your COO. I'm going to walk you through 5 specific functions, 5 zones in your business where AI can genuinely operate at a COO level when you build it correctly. These aren't suggestions. These are documented, deployable workflows that operators are using right now across every major business vertical. Number 1, lead qualification and follow-up, your AI sales operator. The number one place operators lose revenue isn't marketing, it's follow-up. A lead comes in, you're busy, you get to it in 48 hours, and by then, they've already hired someone else. Here's how a COO would think about this. Build a qualification system that responds to every inquiry immediately, asks the right pre-screening questions, scores the lead based on fit, and routes it to the right person or the right next step without you touching it. AI can do that right now, with tools most of you are already paying for. Your lead follow-up sequence doesn't have to be a human in your inbox. It can be a conversation flow powered by AI that asks what the prospect needs, when they need it, what their budget is, and what's happened before they reached out. Then it routes them to your scheduler, your application form, or your team based on rules you set once. The output is the same. The human cost is gone, and the speed of response is unbeatable. Number 2, standard operating procedures, your AI documentation engine. If you've been avoiding building SOPs because you don't have time to sit down and write them, that objection is officially over. Here's what this looks like in practice. You turn on a screen recorder and walk through a task the way you always do it. You upload that recording or transcript to an AI model and say, turn this into a step-by-step SOP with decision points and quality checks. Done. In 10 minutes. For a document that would have taken you 3 hours. Then you review it, clean it up, and put it where your team can find it. Now that process doesn't live in your head anymore. Now it lives in your operation. And every person on your team can execute it the same way without asking you. That's not a small thing. That's how you start removing yourself as the bottleneck. Number 3, client onboarding, your AI experience manager. Client onboarding is where first impressions get cemented and where most small businesses are completely inconsistent. One client gets the full red carpet because you had time that week. The next one gets a quick email because you were stretched thin. That inconsistency is a brand problem, and it's a retention problem. A COO would standardize this. They'd build an onboarding sequence that runs the same way every time, regardless of who's on the team, regardless of how busy the week is. AI lets you do that by automating the sequence itself. Welcome email triggers the moment payment processes. Day 2 sends the intake questionnaire. Day 5 sends the kickoff scheduling link. Day 10 sends a check-in prompt. All of it personal, all of it on brand, none of it dependent on someone remembering to press send. You build it once, it runs forever. That's operational leverage. Number 4, decision support, your AI analyst. This one is where most operators leave serious time on the table. Every week, you're making decisions. Pricing decisions, hiring decisions, vendor decisions, offer decisions. And most of the time, you're making those decisions based on gut feel and incomplete information because pulling the actual data together would take too long. AI compresses that research time dramatically. You can drop your numbers into a conversation and ask AI to identify patterns. You can ask it to compare 2 pricing strategies and model the margin implications. You can ask it to audit your offer and flag where it's misaligned with your target customer. You still make the call. That's your job. But you make it faster, with better information, and with a lot less guesswork. A COO is not there to make decisions for you. They're there to make sure you have what you need to make the right ones. AI does that. Number 5, content and communication, your AI voice operator. Last one, and I want to be clear here, this is not about AI writing your content and calling it done. It's about using AI to operationalize the communication layer of your business. Your email sequences, your client update templates, your proposal frameworks, your team briefing structure, your FAQ responses. All of the recurring communication that takes time you don't have. AI can draft the first version in a fraction of the time at a quality level that you can refine quickly. The goal isn't to remove your voice. The goal is to stop rebuilding it from scratch every time. Drop a comment and tell me, which of these 5 zones is your biggest time drain right now? Lead follow-up, SOPs, onboarding, decisions, communication? I actually want to know because this is exactly what we're building frameworks around inside the Operator Academy. Here's the honest truth about AI and your business. The operators who are going to win the next 5 years are not the ones who used AI the most. They're the ones who built AI into their operations the most deliberately. There's a huge difference between dabbling and integrating. Dabbling gets you cool results sometimes. Integrating builds a machine that runs. So here's your action step coming out of this episode, and I want you to actually do this, not just think about it. Pick one of the 5 zones we just walked through. Just one, the one that costs you the most time every week. Then ask yourself, what does AI need from me to be able to operate in that zone? What information does it need? What rules does it need to follow? What does a good output look like? Write those answers down. That's your brief. That's the start of building your AI operator for that function. You don't need a developer. You don't need a big budget. You need clarity about what you want the system to do. And then you need to build it. The businesses that figure this out in 2026 are going to look like they have a back office 3 times the size they actually do. That's the advantage. That's why this matters. If this episode gave you a new way of thinking about AI and your operations, here's what I want you to do. Share it with one person in your network who's building something, because this is the conversation that's happening inside boardrooms right now, and it should be happening at the kitchen table too. And if you want to go deeper, if you want the actual frameworks, the vertical specific playbooks, and the step-by-step builds for integrating AI into your operations, that's exactly what the Operator Academy is built around. We launch April 2026. Founding member pricing is still available for the first 100 operators in. The link is in the description. Go get your spot. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Drop a comment with the zone you're starting with, and we'll see you in the next episode. Wherever you are, that is exactly where you are supposed to be. But that does not mean you have to stay there. Until next time.